Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to or welcome back to my channel. If you are returning, thank you so much. I love you guys. And if you are new here, hi, my name is Bitsy. It would mean the world to me if you subscribe to my channel down below. I post new videos every Wednesday and every Friday. So today I am dedicating this full video of just teaching you guys everything you need to know about eyeshadow. Because as you guys know, makeup has gotten so insanely advanced and people are so talented and they're doing these crazy eye looks, but sometimes you need to bring it all the way back, go back to the basics, and just understand where to begin. I'm going to show you what different types of brushes are used for and how to blend your eyeshadow, not just saying it and telling you blend it, but showing you how exactly to do that. So then in the future, you guys can go forward and you can watch all of the tutorials you want and you will understand what they're trying to say. So I'll be using probably one of the most popular palettes out there. This is the Morphe X James Charles palette. I know a lot of my followers have this palette and request for tutorials of me using it. So this is what I'm going to be using to demonstrate today, but you can really start with any eyeshadow you want. So before we jump in and even touch any of the actual makeup, I'm going to be talking about the brushes that you use to do eyeshadow. So these are fluffy round brushes. They have a rounded shape, as you can tell. They're big and they are very fluffy and soft. Since these brushes aren't as dense as some brushes, which means they have less hair, it's easier to blend it out and move the product around. So when I'm talking about blending, these are going to be the best brushes for you to use to blend your eyeshadow. And in case you are wondering, these are the Morphe M441 brushes. I just want to throw out there and remind you guys, everything that I mentioned in this video should be linked in my description box below, so feel free to go check that out. And as far as Morphe brushes, I know that they can be on the pricier side, but one of the good things about their website is that you can just buy one individual brush instead of a full set of brushes. You can just buy one of the brushes that you need or 3 or 4 of them. You can make your own set, which I really like with Morphe. And another thing to consider is that Morphe always has sales going on and they also always accept coupon codes. And I don't have a Morphe code, of course, but you know, James Charles, since we're using his palette, we'll throw it out there. Use code James for 10% off your Morphe purchases. And I mean, with that, you can get one of these brushes for like $3. It's really not that bad. So here's another example of some of these fluffy round blending brushes. They are great and I love them. All of these work amazing. I think that these are just about the exact same quality as the Morphe brushes, but they're like 100 times cheaper. So I'm going to link these sets down below also. They're all from Amazon and they're so cheap. They're like $7 for a whole set of like 16. So go check them out. I love them and I highly recommend using them, especially if you're just getting into it. Get a great set of amazing brushes, and so I'll link the exact ones that I have, but for like zero money. And yeah, so anyways, we're gonna move forward and keep talking about different types and what they're used for. So these flat rounded brushes, like you can see that if I turn them to the side, they're completely flat and they're rounded. And so these ones are what we call packer brushes or concealer brushes. And so basically these are the ones that you use to cut your crease, to pack concealer on your crease like that. This is what I use for that, or you don't have to use it with concealer. You can use it for regular eyeshadow and just really, you have so much more control when using these brushes of like where you're applying your eyeshadow. And so these ones, that's why we call them packer brushes, is because you can pack on eyeshadow and make it very pigmented, because these are very dense. So these brushes are very similar to the big fluffy rounded blending brushes I was showing you first, but these ones are just smaller versions of them. And so I called these smudging brushes or smudger brushes. This is what I use to kind of pack eyeshadow on right underneath my eye. These are also great for any small details, like if you're trying to just put eyeshadow in one very specific area, say like your outer corner or right above your crease. It's really up to you where you use the brushes, but that is what they're most commonly used for. There's not really rules when it comes to using brushes. Like you can use a face brush on your eyes if you want, and I use an eyebrow brush to do like a eyeshadow wing all the time. Like they will say that they're used for something specific, but you can use it really for whatever it works for. I just know that some people needed this clarity because it is really confusing and a little bit overwhelming when you're just getting into it and you get a whole pack of brushes and you don't know what they're used for. And so I also want to throw out there that if anybody has a pack of eyeshadow brushes or just makeup brushes in general, and you're a little bit overwhelmed and a little bit confused still about what they're used for, what goes where, what does what, you can always send me a direct message on Instagram, and I like to read through my direct messages. So if you send me a picture of it, I will help explain to you what brushes are used for what. But I hope this helped clear it up just a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to be doing some demonstrating for you guys, not just on my eyes, but also on my hand, just to show you more technique on my hand. So I'm going to go ahead and take this fluffy round blending brush like I showed you guys. This is one of the ones that are going to be linked in my description box down below and a set from Amazon. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up some pink just so it can really show on the back of my hand. And so picked up a little bit of pink on the tip of this brush, and I'm just going to dot it right here, and then I'm going to blend it out in little circles. And this is kind of shows how you want to hold your brush. I hold it like a pencil right down towards the tip for control, and I blend it in little circles really, really lightly. So the whole concept of blending your eyeshadow is a little bit confusing for people who are new, but I want to make it really clear for you guys. So if you just throw on some eyeshadow, it can be really harsh and you'll have this line, right? So say that's your eyelid and you have this harsh line of just pink. And very commonly in makeup, we like for it to look ombre and gradient, and so that's why I blend in little circle motions like this. You can also do little windshield wiper motions. You'll see that's very comfortable on your eye, is going just back and forth really lightly like this. But like I said, I like to hold my brush like a pencil, and I just go back and forth like this, or little circular motions like that. In short, eyeshadow is really just packing a color on, and so by packing, I mean just stamping it like dot, 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 and then there's a lot of pigment in one area, and then working in little circular, really light, fluffy motion, fluffy, I don't know why I use that adjective, light circular motions, and just blending that little pigmented circle out. But we blend it out because most of the time we're going for a very gradient, ombre, and soft type of eyeshadow look. Now, I know I used pink to show this. Obviously, that was just for demonstration purposes. You can do this with any color, and you just start off by just kind of packing it on, and then you work it out by blending it and making it softer as you go up towards your eyebrow usually. So most of the time you're going to take just a fluffy brush, grab a tan neutral color. That's the easiest thing to start out with, and you can build it from there and just throw it right in your crease. And if you're new and you don't have eyeshadow palettes, try using a bronzer and throwing a bronzer right in your crease, and then you blend it out from there, just little circular motions, and you blend it up towards your eyebrow and you blend it out towards where your eyebrow ends. Another tip I always give in my videos is that I like to follow where my waterline ends and towards my eyebrow. And so I'll kind of create an imaginary line like right here, and you can also use tape to help you kind of stay in this line. And I always give myself a little wing shape whenever I'm putting eyeshadow on right there, just so I know where to stop so it doesn't get dragged out too far, and so you still see it and it gives your eye a nice flattering shape rather than just ending in a circle right here. It looks really, really nice and flattering on almost every single eye shape to bring it out to a sharp point out here. I love the name of this color. This is called Punch Me, and so I'm going to go ahead and start actually throwing it on my eyes at this point. So like I said, I'm going to throw it right in the crease right here, and I'm going to just pack it in there. Just throw a bunch of shadow right on the crease. It doesn't really matter how you pack it on, but I just pack it on, and you can see it's not that great yet, but then you blend it out. So I do, like I said before, windshield wiper motions and nice little circles to really just blend out that harsh line right there, because I want it to go all the way up to my eyebrows, but faded and gradient. And notice how lightly I'm blending. I'm not blending harsh. I'm not stabbing my eyeball. I'm going so gently and so lightly that it doesn't even look like I'm touching my skin. That's how lightly I'm blending. Just really, really soft, very, very gentle. There's no rush. You can do it actually probably faster if you're going light, because you're less likely to make mistakes if you're using a very light amount of pressure. Okay, so like I talked about keeping this in a straight line, I'm just going to go ahead and draw that line really, really lightly. I don't want it to be too harsh, but with the same color, I'm just dragging it out to right here. So I'm just going back and forth, up and down motions, just creating that line exactly where I want it, kind of just as a template to know now this is where my eyeshadow is going to stop. So a couple of other questions about pigmentation and making your eyeshadow last and stay. Yes, eyeshadow primer does exist, and I highly recommend using an eyeshadow primer if you want your eyeshadow to look the best it possibly can. One that I recommend to you is this e.l.f. Putty Eye Primer. It is super inexpensive, but it does a great job. So you just throw this right on your eyelid. You can even use your finger, or you can use a brush if you prefer, and then you throw your eyeshadow on over top of it. and then it will make your eyeshadow not only just stick and stay put all day, it will last, but it'll also give you a nice base. This one is white, and so then your eyeshadow will pop 10 times more. And if you don't feel like going out of your way to use an eye primer, that's okay. If you have a concealer or a foundation nearby that you already own, go ahead and throw that on your eyelid first, even if you're just using a beauty blender. Throw it on your eyelid, and that will give your eyeshadow something to stick to and something to lay on top of. And I'd also like to give a tip that one of the best ways to see more pigment in your eyeshadow, because a lot of people I know use a drugstore eyeshadow that's not necessarily as pigmented as these name brand eyeshadow palettes, but say you're using a NYX eyeshadow palette and it's not as pigmented as you want it to be, it's not showing up on your skin very well, or it's looking a little bit patchy and it's not coming through, the color isn't coming out how you want it to, use your finger, and so just use the bed of your finger, grab a little bit of the product and then tap it onto your eyelid that way. I think using your fingers to do makeup is very, very underrated. You don't see it a lot, but it's one of those hidden secrets and hidden gems that if you know, you know. Packing on shimmery colors, one of my favorite tips is to use your finger. I always prefer, if I want a white to look more pigmented, or if I want any shimmery gold or silver sparkly colors, if I want those to really pop and really come through, I will use my finger to apply them because that's how they look the best and the most pigmented. So I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate what I was just explaining to you guys. So this is the Morphe M441 brush, and I'm going to go ahead and grab a little bit of a sparkly purple color. See, this is just one of those round packer brushes I was talking about. I'm going to pick it up, and I'm going to go ahead and throw this color right here, right on my wrist. And you can kind of see how that's coming out. I'm going to grab some more, and I'm just going to pack it on there. And you can kind of see that's all right. But I'm going to use my finger now. I'm going to grab some of this, and I'm just going to go ahead and... Do you guys see the difference between using a brush, and then that's like 3 layers of me using a brush, and then that's 1 layer of me using my finger? I'll go ahead and go with another layer on top of that using my finger. It is just way more pigmented. Now, I am not saying that your fingers are the best at blending eyeshadow out, but they are the best at packing on color to make it the most intense and most vibrant that it possibly can be. So if you're having trouble with pigmentation, try using your finger, just give it a shot, and then you can go ahead from there and try to blend that out very gently with a little circular motions, like I said, along the edges. But then the main part that you put it on will still look very intense and very bold. So I'm going to go ahead and take a smaller little blending brush like this. This is the first one that we used, and this is the one that I'm using now. So it's just a tiny bit smaller and a little bit more precise, because when I'm working with the outer corner and trying to darken up my outer corner, I like to use a little bit of a smaller brush just to have more control, because it's really easy for a dark color to kind of just take over your whole look. And so that's why I like to use a little bit smaller of a brush just to have a little bit more control over it. And so I'm going to kind of at an angle tap this right where I want it in the outer corner, but I'm just tapping it. I'm not really blending it or brushing it around. I'm just patting that in right where I want it. And so I'm going to follow that line still that I was going for. Just this like sharp little wing type of line. And then I'm just going to lightly do little circles and blend that into the eyeshadow that we had already laid down. And just like before, just tiny little circular motions, and I'm going very, very gently, very lightly. Now I'm going to go back to this fluffy brush that I used to put on the tan color right on the crease, and I'm going to help kind of blend those two colors together nicer. And this way, I'm not dragging the brown all the way into my crease. I'm bringing the tan and helping it kind of fade into the brown. I always feel like when you're going with dark colors, it's best for the dark to really just stay in this little corner right here, and then the further out and the further up, the further in you go, it's nice to blend it out with a tan color or whatever lighter color you're going with at the time, and blend it out to make it lighten around the edges. And that's kind of how I achieve more of a gradient, ombre, blended type of look. And now you know that when we say blend it out, just keep blending, just blend, blend, blend. You hear blend all the time, but at least now you know that blending just means very, very lightly and very gently, just working it up in small circles to make it as gradient as possible. So the most product being down here, and then just without ever grabbing more product, just working that all the way up until it's nice and soft and faded. Now, I always feel like no eye look is complete without smudging out the bottom, and so I'm going to grab the same tan shade that I used in the crease up here, and I'm just with a little smudger brush, I'm going to throw that right on the bottom below my lower lashes. Sometimes using a black or a dark brown can be a little bit too overwhelming. You still get kind of the same effect if you're using a light brown or a tan right here. What I believe is always what you do to the top, do to the bottom. If I do a fun rainbow eye look, I usually do the same type of look on the bottom and use the same colors. I just feel like it really brings it all together. When I was just starting with eyeshadow, I always thought that eyeshadow was just meant for your eyelid and that was it. And I didn't understand blending it up, and I didn't understand blending it out, giving it a shape, and I definitely didn't think that you put eyeshadow underneath your eye. I always thought it was just an eyeliner pencil that was supposed to go right in your tight line right there, but you can do either or. I realized that my eyes look a lot smaller and closed if I put black eyeliner in my lower lash line, so I usually don't. I actually just usually throw a little bit of an eyeshadow right here, and that's not even in my waterline, so it's actually a lot easier than putting eyeliner on. One other thing I'd like to throw in there is that obviously I have eyelash extensions. These aren't fake eyelashes, like they're not like the glued on ones. They're actually like attached to my eyelashes, so I can't take them off. So I just wanted to remind you guys that it's best to do your eyeshadow first. Do your eyeshadow before you do eyeliner, and do your eyeshadow before you do mascara or lashes. Those things come last. You may have been able to notice throughout this video, it's kind of difficult for me to work around these eyelashes, and since I've gotten them, I haven't been wearing much eyeshadow, but I did want to still make this tutorial for you guys and at least explain a little bit more about how to do eyeshadow. I know this really wasn't the most exciting tutorial in the world, but it's one of those things that I don't see this tutorial anywhere of just explaining how to blend out eyeshadow. There's nothing just about that. And so that's why I wanted to make this tutorial for you guys, is people who are seriously wondering and just curious and trying to get better at eyeshadow. I just wanted to kind of break it down, explain to you guys about the brushes, about the blending, this and that. So I really hope that this video was helpful to at least someone out there watching. Of course, if you still have any questions at all, leave a comment down below. I would love to see it, and I would love to respond and help as much as I can. And I will definitely include the links to those Amazon set of brushes that I love, that are really inexpensive and cheap. 10 out of 10 would recommend. Go ahead and check them out. I swear they're only like $7, so they're worth the money. I'm going to just be rocking the one eye with eyeshadow because I'm super lazy right now. I didn't feel like doing the other one. It's fine. Alright guys, well if you found this video helpful in any way, make sure you subscribe to my channel down below. Give this video a thumbs up for me. I would seriously appreciate it so much. Anyways, you guys, thank you so much for watching. I seriously hope this video was helpful for someone out there. I was inspired to make this video because I get a lot of questions about how to blend eyeshadow and how to make it look good, what brushes are used for what, and what brushes I recommend using. And so with all those comments, I had the idea of just breaking it down and making it very simple for you beginners or people who are just new to makeup and trying to learn and understand it. Also, I apologize if this video was a little bit all over the place. I was kind of just saying stuff as I was thinking it. So, like I said, if you have any other questions still, just let me know in the comments down below or send me a direct message on Instagram. I would love to help in any way possible. I think I covered everything that I wanted to say. I love you guys so much. I will catch you guys in my next video. I hope you guys all have a wonderful day and go do something fun. And if you don't feel like getting up and you're being lazy today like myself, maybe you can go ahead and just watch my next video. Mwah. She's a Mona Lisa.